Hi everyone. I sure have missed seeing you on Sunday mornings. It's been a little strange, hasn't it? It's a strange time. You can't go out and play on the playground. You can't see your friends. You're not going to school. We'll have a story for you that will help you think about how to cooperate, share, and help others during this time. Once there was a hungry traveler who'd been roaming the countryside for quite a while, and he hadn't had a good meal for a long time. He spotted a lovely village in the distance and said, "If I go to that village, surely someone will be able to share some food with me." As the traveler hurried into town, he tripped over a little stone. He picked it up and looked at it. It was smooth and oval in shape. He said, "I think I'll keep this stone. You never know when a stone like this might come in handy." Then the traveler happily headed toward the village. When he arrived in the village, things did not go as well as he hoped. He stopped at a few houses with no luck of finding a meal. There was no food to share. Most of the houses were empty or quiet. Finally, a maid appeared in the doorway. "Can you spare some food?" the traveler asked her. "I've been traveling for days and I'm very hungry." "I'm sorry, I only have a few potatoes," the maid said. "There's not enough to spare or share. Why don't you try the neighbor next door?" "I already have," said the traveler, but he was very grumpy and slammed the door. "This is going to be more difficult than I thought," said the traveler. The traveler visited every house in the village, but no one had enough food to spare or share. At one house there was only cabbage, at another house only carrots, and a third house had only salt and pepper. Since there was no food for the hungry traveler, he decided to move on. First he sat down to rest under the cool shade of a tree. As he sat there, he took out his little stone and began to play with it. It's a shame that that nice little village has nobody out and about. No one is playing. As the traveler looked at his stone, he suddenly had a brilliant idea. The traveler ran back to the village and shouted, "Come out of your houses, everybody. I have a magic stone. It will give us enough food. A wonderful meal for everyone." One by one, the curious villagers peeked out of their doors and windows. The grumpy villager, who had slammed the door on the traveler before, looked out his window and shouted, "What's all that racket about?" "Come out, help us make a delicious pot of stone soup," said the traveler. The maid stepped out of her house as two excited children ran up to the traveler. "Is that your stomach I hear growling?" one of them asked. "Yes, it is. I am very hungry." "Does anybody have a large soup kettle so we can get started?" the traveler asked. "I've got one you can use, but I don't think it'll do you any good. I don't think your magic stone will really work." Most of the villagers were excited, but some of them felt the same way as the grumpy villager. "Do you really think he can make soup from a stone?" they asked. "I guess we'll find out soon," said another. "I certainly hope he can. I haven't had any good soup for a long time." The grumpy villager brought out his large kettle and set it down on a pile of sticks for the fire. "Here you go. Add some water. Let's see if that magic stone of yours can really make soup for all of us." "Don't you worry," said the traveler. "There will be plenty." The traveler placed the smooth oval stone in the kettle of water and began to stir. After a little while he tasted the soup. "Not bad," he said, "but I think it could use a little salt and pepper." "I've got some," said one of the young ladies. "I'll run home and get it." "Perhaps the soup would taste even better if I shared my potatoes," the maid suggested. "That's a great idea," said the traveler. "Why don't you go and get them? We'll add them right away." Soon they added the potatoes and the salt, and once again the traveler stirred the stone soup. When he tasted it the second time, all the villagers watched with anticipation. "This is very good, but it would taste even better with some carrots and cabbage," said the traveler. Then a young girl ran home to get some carrots, and a boy ran home to get the cabbage. By now everyone was having so much fun, they forgot about how hungry they were. Even the big grumpy old villager was no longer grumpy. He said, "Let's make this meal into a party." When they added the cabbage and the carrots, they all stood and waited. Again the traveler stirred the soup. "I can't wait." "Neither can I," said a girl. Finally the traveler announced that the stone soup was ready to eat. He filled all the bowls, and the villagers began to eat. Afterward, there was plenty of soup left over. "There's enough to spare and share," said a young lady. The villagers were so happy after dinner that they didn't want the evening to end. They started playing music together and dancing and singing. At last the village was alive with chatter and laughter. The next morning, the traveler said goodbye to all his new friends in the village. It was time for him to leave. "I want you to have this, though," the traveler said as he handed the smooth oval stone to the villagers. "Now you will always be able to make stone soup together. You will never be hungry or sad or grumpy again." Each of the villagers hugged the traveler and told him to come back and visit sometime. They were all very grateful for what the traveler had done. Cooperation. Cooperation means working together to do things that need to get done. In this story, the hungry traveler used his smooth oval stone to help the villagers cooperate. He helped them to share and work together. Just a little bit of food that each one of them had put together made a fine meal for the entire village. They found there was plenty of food for everyone. During this difficult time, you can please God and your parents by cooperating, sharing, helping others. Hey, let's put a smile on our faces and have a good attitude, and we'll have less trouble during this difficult time. Bye for now.